Deped Radio. Deped Radio. Deped Radio. Deped Radio. Deped Radio. Deped Radio's always here for you to give you lessons on air for vital information and quality education wherever you are, whatever you do. This is Deped Radio Lesson on Air. Deped Radio Lesson on Air. Deped Radio, made possible by Deped Radio Philippines. Member KDP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas and Department of Education. Sulong Edukalidad.
In pursuit of continuous quality education,
Living up to DepEd's mandate of no student should be left behind.
from the home of Sarongbangi,
The land of Oragons. This is Santo Domingo National High School. School on Air.
School on Air.
A wonderful and safe day, our grade 9 students. You are tuning in to another exciting episode of our School on Air program with yours truly, Ma'am Weng Balute, your radio teacher for Science 9, offering you with another intensified radiant of knowledge on Earth and space. I am thankful that God has given us a chance to be together again over the radio to tackle another important topic that everyone should be acquainted to. I suppose you are now at the peak of your mode of frequency to learn at the place where you are comfortable having the clearest radio signal. Before anything else, let me recognize the science students of Ma'am Marife Bravo, Ma'am Milan Claveria, and Ma'am Grace Torres, who are also monitoring to us right now, and of course, my dear students in Diamond, Da Vinci, and Nara. Hello everyone! Now, get your learning activity sheet or LAS in Science 9, Quarter 3, Week 5 and 6. Again, get your LAS in Science 9, Quarter 3, Week 5 and 6. Have also with you a paper and a pen. This time, take a look at your learning activity sheets number 5 and 6, entitled Factors Affecting Climate and Climate Phenomena. Again, the title of the last 5 and 6 are Factors Affecting Climate and Climate Phenomena. Before we start, let me give you some reminders. Read and understand thoroughly the concept stated in your LAS. Follow the instructions in the activities given, and lastly, answer all the activities with all your honesty. Now please check whether your LAS contains 4 pages, each that includes the concept study, activities to be analyzed from letters A to C, questions under evaluation, and the creating part with a given rubric for your guidance. For today's episode, you must be able to explain how different factors affect the climate of an area and the different climate phenomena. Now, let us start learning. Before we proceed, I want you to observe our weather for today. March is considered to be the start of our summer season, right? Many of us would say summer now is very much different from before, wherein the rain is not only intermittent, but it seems to be present regularly, and sometimes it is even accompanied with thunderstorms. We are not used to it, right? Perhaps we can account that to climate change. A while ago, I have mentioned the words weather and climate. Can you still remember the difference between these two words as discussed in your previous level? Let me see if your memory still works. Get a piece of paper and do this activity. I will be mentioning terms and determine if it is associated with weather or climate. You are going to write C if those terms are for climate and W if it is for weather. I repeat, C for climate and W for weather. Let us start. The first term is short-term condition. Is it associated for weather or climate? Write your answers now. Okay, and the answer is weather. So your answer must be W. Did you get it right? Congratulations. The next is long-term pattern. Is it for weather or climate? Have your answers now. And the answer for that is C for climate. Is your answer correct? That is great. Another is average atmospheric condition. Is it associated with weather or climate? Write your answer now. Okay, the correct answer is C for climate. Are you right? Bravo! And the last mystery term is day-to-day state of atmosphere. Will you go for weather or climate? And the correct answer is W for weather. Did you get it all right? If yes, then congratulate yourselves because your memory button still active. Great job! And now, let us wrap up the differences between the climate and weather. When you say climate, it pertains to the average atmospheric conditions over a longer period of time. It is a long-term patterns that occurs in weather. The climate information includes the statistical weather information that tells us about the normal weather, as well as the range of weather extremes for a location. While weather reflects short-term conditions of the atmosphere, it is the day-to-day state of atmosphere, and it is a short-term variation in minutes to weeks. People generally think of weather as the combination of temperature, humidity, precipitation, cloudiness, visibility, and wind. We talk about changes in weather in terms of the near future. Say, for example, how hot is it right now? Or, what will it be like today? What are the factors that affect the climate in a particular area? These factors are classified into two. First is the temperature factors, and the second is the precipitation factors. Covered in the temperature factors are latitude, altitude or elevation, distance to a body of water, and ocean currents. While the precipitation factors include topography and prevailing winds. Now let us discuss each one. The first factor is latitude, or distance from the equator. The temperature drops the further an area is from the equator due to the curvature of the Earth. In areas closer to the poles, Sunlight has a larger area of atmosphere to pass through, and the sun is at a lower angle in the sky. As a result, more energy is lost and temperature is cooler. Again, the farther the place from the equator is, the cooler the temperature. On the other hand, the closer it is to the equator, the higher the temperature of a place since it receives direct sun rays. Another factor is altitude or elevation of a place. Areas at high elevation have lower temperature than areas at low elevations. For example, Baguio has a colder climate than other places in Luzon. It has a higher altitude and stands 1,435 meters above sea level. This is due to a decrease in air temperature of about 6.5 degrees Celsius for its 30-meter increase in elevation. Again, the higher the place, the cooler it is or the lower its temperature. Next is distance to a body of water. During summer, when the temperature is higher, people used to hang out in beaches, right? It is because places near beaches or bodies of water have lower temperature compared to places inland. We can account this to the presence of the oceans that heats up and cools down much more slowly than land. This means that coastal locations tend to be cooler in summer and warmer in winter than places inland at the same latitude and altitude. Next, we have ocean currents. When you say ocean currents, it pertains to the continuous and directed movement of ocean water. The currents will travel thousands of kilometers. In the process of stabilizing a conveyor belt globally, that brings about different climatic conditions across the world. The currents will either act above the surface of the ocean or deep below the surface of the ocean, at least 300 meters. Depending on the cause, ocean currents will move vertically or horizontally, and they can also be influenced by the land masses that border the ocean, the topography, or the shape of the ocean basin. Another factor is topography. The topography of an area can influence the weather and climate. Topography is the relief of an area. If an area is close to a body of water, it tends to make milder climates. Mountainous areas tend to have more extreme weather because it acts as a barrier to air movements and moisture. On the side of the mountain can be dry, while the other side is full of vegetation. The side where there is much precipitation and is very ideal for vegetation is called the windward side, while the dry side of the mountain where there is less precipitation is called the leeward side, or sometimes called rain shadow region. Lastly, we have the prevailing winds. Prevailing winds is the most frequent wind direction a location experiences. In Britain, the prevailing wind is from southwest, which brings warm, moist air from the Atlantic Ocean. This contributes to the frequent rainfall. When prevailing winds blow over land areas, it can contribute to creating desert climates. As what you have learned in our discussion, can you now understand the climate we are having here in our place? Or you are still confused because climate nowadays is so unpredictable? Do you agree? Or just like a woman, men would often say, Well, I beg to disagree. Men just need to invest in reading our moves. Just like in climate change, we must know how and why such changes occur. Before we proceed, let me explain what a climate change is. It is a significant shift in the mean state and event frequency of the atmosphere. Climate change is a normal component of the Earth's natural variability, and it occurs on all time and space scales. Climate change is a global phenomenon that largely impacts urban life. Rising global temperatures causes sea levels to rise, increases the number of extreme weather events such as floods, droughts and storms, and increases the spread of tropical diseases. All these have costly impacts on cities' basic services, infrastructure, housing, and in humans' livelihoods and health. At the same time, cities are a key contributor to climate change, as urban activities are major sources of greenhouse gas emissions. Estimates suggest that cities are responsible for 75% of global carbon dioxide emissions, with transport and buildings being among the largest contributors. Now let us go deeper in understanding how carbon dioxide increases Earth's temperature. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, a gas that absorbs and radiates heat. But increases in greenhouse gases have tipped the Earth's energy budget out of balance, trapping additional heat and raising Earth's average temperature. Carbon dioxide is the most important on Earth's long-lived greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide, on the other hand, remains a gas at a wider range of atmospheric temperatures than water. Carbon dioxide molecules provide the initial greenhouse heating needed to maintain water vapor concentrations. When carbon dioxide concentrations drop, Earth cools. Some water vapor falls out of the atmosphere, and the greenhouse warming caused by water vapor drops. Likewise, when carbon dioxide concentrations rise, air temperatures go up, and more water vapor evaporates into the atmosphere, which then amplifies greenhouse heating. Rising carbon dioxide concentrations are already causing the planet to heat up. At the same time, the greenhouse gases have been increasing. Average global temperatures have risen 0.8 degrees Celsius, or about 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit since 1980. Figure 1 on page 1 of your last number 6 shows how carbon dioxide increases with temperature from 1964 to 2008, wherein the highest recorded carbon dioxide emission was between 2004 and 2008 at the rate of 390 part per million, or ppm, and that gives a corresponding increase in temperature of about 0.63 degrees Celsius. The greenhouse effect is a natural process that warms the Earth's surface. Greenhouse gases include water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, and some artificial chemicals such as chlorofluorocarbons, or the CFCs. The greenhouse effect is the trapping of heat under the atmosphere, which is a natural effect caused by greenhouse gases. However, when greenhouse gas concentrations are too high, they trap too much heat and increase the temperature on Earth, causing the enhanced greenhouse effect. On page 2 of your last number 6, you will see figure 2, illustrating the sequence step of greenhouse effect. It starts when the sun's radiation travels toward the earth. About half of it is reflected or absorbed by clouds and the atmosphere. The rest reaches the earth where it is absorbed by the ocean and land. The earth also releases the heat back towards space. Some of this heat passes directly through the atmosphere, but most of it is captured and retained by greenhouse gases. So, that is the reason why the greater the greenhouse gases, the warmer the earth is. That unusual rapid increase in Earth's average surface temperature over the past century primarily is called global warming. Again, this is due to the greenhouse gases released as people burn fossil fuels. So, the primary cause of global warming is the burning of fossil fuels. Some effects of global warming are hotter days, rising sea levels, more frequent and intense extreme weather events, ocean warming, and acidifying. Climate change has two cyclical events among its impacts. These are the El Nino and La Nina. When you say El Nino, it is a climate pattern that describes the unusual warming of surface waters in the eastern Pacific Ocean. Severe drought and associated food insecurity, flooding, rains, and temperature rises due to El Nino are causing a wide range of health problems, including diseases outbreaks, malnutrition, heat stress, and respiratory diseases. On the other hand, La Nina is a climate pattern that describes the cooling of surface ocean water along the tropical west coast of South America. La Nina causes increased rainfall, while in other regions, it causes extreme dry conditions. These climatic changes can no longer be reverted to its normal conditions. But we can do something to at least control its worsening condition. Of course, we can do that. All we have to do is to involve ourselves seriously to climate change mitigation. Mitigating climate change is about reducing the release of greenhouse gas emissions that are warming our planet. Mitigation strategies include retrofitting buildings to make them more energy efficient, adopting renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and small hydro, helping cities develop more sustainable transport such as bus rapid transit, electric vehicles, and biofuels, and promoting more sustainable uses of land and forests. Because we are already committed to some level of climate change, responding to climate change involves a two-pronged approach. First is reducing emissions of and stabilizing the levels of heat-trapping greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. This is the mitigation process. Second is adapting to the climate change, which is already in the pipeline, and this is the adaptation process. After hearing these environmental facts, do you feel responsible in healing our Earth? If yes, thank you, because it is a constructive motivation in making yourself involved in saving the Earth. At this point, you may assess your learning. At this point, kindly get your pen and paper again and answer the following questions. The first question is, what are the factors that affect climate? Again, identify the factors affecting our climate. I am giving you 1 minute to write your answer. Okay, so are you through? Okay, very good. The next question is, as a young Earth saver, how will you respond to climate change? I repeat, how will you respond to climate change? Another minute will be given to you to compose your answer. Are you done? Wow, you are so witty. Your answer sheet for today's episode should be included in your outputs to be submitted tomorrow in our scheduled modules retrieval. At this moment, let us seal this topic by applying the things that you have learned for today. You are going to create an infographics or a poster in a short bond paper reflecting the different factors affecting climate. A rubric is given on page 4 of your LAS as your guide in attaining the highest possible grade for your performance task. If you have a hard time in understanding the directions, do not hesitate to message me in our GC. Again, may I remind you that our answer sheet will be passed tomorrow during our Schedule 4 modules retrieval. We are about to end our episode for today. I am thankful that you have never failed to show your enthusiasm to learn. I hope you will be with me again in our next episode as I discuss our next topic. Again, this is Ma'am Weng Balute, your teacher broadcaster for Science 9 saying, what you do will make a difference. Keep safe, always follow health protocols, and together, let us heal our land. Goodbye.